Thanks for staying with us. So, on Wednesdays, we love to bring in women who are doing amazing things. So our guest today is the CEO and managing consultant at UConnect Human Resources Limited, Nigeria. She's Nigeria's leading human resource solutions company and founder of Great Jobs NG, a first of its kind digital HR recruitment platform in Africa. As an entrepreneur, she is credited with leading a team of experts to introduce transformational solutions to partner organizations in the areas of recruitment and outsourcing. Welcome with us, Dr. Omon Odike in the building.
Finally, I'm here.
We've been trying to get you on all this.
I know.
Said she won't come until you move to Atlantic. I said,
don't say that on air.
We're here now. We've come to the
proximity is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy.
It's easier. Yeah. Good to have you.
Good to have me. I'm very happy to be here.
So we love when women are doing amazing work. We love to celebrate women who are just doing things, extraordinary things. So bringing you here really just to put a spotlight on how you started and how you got to where you are. So just give us in a nutshell how Omon Odike started.
I will try and make it very, very quick. But I think myself, I would say Omon Odike, I was never going to be an entrepreneur. I never saw it in the works. So I call myself an accidental entrepreneur. And looking back in the days when I started, which is about 20 years ago with my career as a lawyer, my dream was to be a judge. I wanted to be, to the highest Supreme Court judge. In fact, that was going to be my retirement plan. But very, very quickly, life turned through a curveball. And what would that be? Every woman, I think, has gone through this phase whereby you leave school, you get married, then the kids start coming. And not every woman can juggle all of it. Yeah. And I was one of those women not only because of the fact that I felt I didn't have the capacity. I had the capacity, but when you start having a bit of medical issues is something that you can't throw away. You can't say I would ignore it. I mean, life comes first before anything. Yeah. So I just quickly said, okay, I've done well in the career. Let me go and rest. And the rest was, just rest and do something that was much easier. And of course, everybody who knows about entrepreneurship knows that's a lie. It's a big lie because entrepreneurship is far harder, far more difficult, far everything you can even imagine. But the only thing that it gave me was it allowed me to pace myself from the beginning compared to the work. When you're working with somebody, you have to, give your deliverables immediately on time and everything. So I got to have that a few months of getting to rest, see myself through. And I was pregnant, of course. I have 4 kids. So it's not like I just said I wasn't going to work because I didn't want to work. So I started this HR consulting firm. And it wasn't defined as HR. It was just like, let me start recruiting. There was a company we already had in the family. When I mean family, like the company named UConnect, and it had done some work with human capital before. And nobody was doing anything with it. I said, okay, let me just start, recruiting here and there. But I didn't even know what HR was, because all I knew was legal books, law school, everything law. And then I started the first set of recruitment. They did a second set. But when I'm talking about recruitment now, I'm talking about just maybe like 2 people, 3 people. And then I did just another recruitment where we did like maybe 10 or 20, about 20 of them. And I think that was the defining moment for me when I got a text message from one of the candidates. Remember then when you start, you are the recruiter, you are this person who sources, you're the one who takes them through the interview, you do the filing, you do the documentation. So I think it was just 1 or 2 of us and we do everything so they get to see you. So I did all that and they they also have your numbers. Now, how many people have my numbers now? Very, very few. And the person sent me a text message and it was a guy and said, Madam, thank you so much for giving me this job. And for this reason, I can now feed my family and I've been able to put food on your table. And I didn't know, sometimes you don't know what life and destiny holds for you. I didn't know what God was doing through that process because it taught me so much. I mean, there are some things you see that maybe even more endearing than that. But for some reason, I took it so strongly and like, wow, I love this. I like this.
Give you fulfillment.
Yes, I like this. I want to do this. So I said, okay, if I want to do it, I have to do it right because I'm a person of excellence. So I said, I can't just do it halfway. However, not doing halfway, at that time, the mindset was, if I could even make ₦1 million, I was good because I was earning 75,000 naira in my law firm. And the highest I earned before I left, after I brought in some big business, was 110. And I was very content with that amount of money. I felt for me, you know, for us in those days, for you to be given a job, we are always happy. We are grateful. To be given an opportunity to serve in a company, for me, was just it. So when I was leaving, of course, they were upset. And of course, after this text message, I just said, okay, this is what I was going to do. But I didn't know how to start. I said, what would I do? So quickly, I said, the number one thing I know that will give me success, or at least give me some clarity, was to dedicate the business and all my ideas, the very little ideas. It's not like what we have now, where you see all the conferences, you have one big business plan. No, we didn't have the luxury. The highest we had was Google, or something even worse than Google at that time. You know, so I went to church for 3 days and dedicated my business, the business in quote, to God, and said, God, I do not want to fail. I do not want to be laughed at by my colleagues who have left in the law firm. I want you to bless the work of my hands. So that was what I said. I'm a faith-based person, so I can't. Let me pause
you there, because I have a few questions for you, because there's a lot to learn from you, aside from how you started. Yes, I want to.
Okay, so I read your bio, and I can see that you've gone to a lot of school. You've read a lot of, you have a lot of certifications here and there.
Okay.
So I want to ask, how did you do it? Because me, I'm doing my master's and I'm finding it very hard, very difficult to,
get certified
and all of that. And then after that, also, I would like to know which other course do you intend to go into again? Because you have a lot of them. I don't think you're going to stop
anything. In terms of juggling life, I think just as I was talking about, I had to find something that I could do so that I can have time. But of course, we know that I didn't have enough time, even eventually. But for those programs, if you notice, most of the programs I did short programs. I never did any long program, because I didn't have the luxury of time. Even till now, I still don't have the luxury. So I first and foremost, I was very intentional, looking at the courses that I really needed, and did the programs that were highly accredited, and people have found that's very, very important, and something that will at least add value to me. And I did those courses. When people were going for maybe 2 years, 3 years for different programs, I didn't have the luxury of that. So I just worked with that.
So your story is some story that we can just talk about your story for the whole show.
Yes.
And it's quite interesting how you accidentally found yourself into entrepreneurship. But I would like to know what sort of challenges you faced at the beginning of your business. You've run your business for over 20 years. How was it navigating the waters of, trying to get into companies, getting organizations to trust that you can deliver? What are some of the challenges? Share with us.
Well, I think the very first challenge I had was just understanding the business. I mean, when I knew what I was going to do, provide service, HR service, I needed to understand the business. You need to understand the business of your business for you to be able to be in business. And so that's what I did. So I started reading, and just as I mentioned, we didn't have the luxury of what we have right now. I had to go online, started doing research. I would actually read a whole proposal. I would actually read a whole speech on HR. I would just read just random things, anything that was very useful, I would definitely read. So that was one of the biggest challenges. Then the second one, was, I don't know if I can say it here, but was government. Was the second one, was the second one, and it was Lagos State government. This LRS thing, and I was shocked. I started the business this month. In less than 6 months, I saw LRS coming to say I was owing 9 million. I had not even made 500,000, and they said I was owing 9 million. So I found it extremely absurd. I found it very infuriating. I was so angry. I said, so where did this penalties come from? I've just started 6 months ago, barely a year, and you give me a bill of 9 million. I've not even made up to 500,000.
So where will I pay
from?
Where
did they? So what's the basis of those taxes? They said, okay, no, that the company was incorporated a long time ago, so because of that, it was accruing. I said, no, but even still, we have to come to a compromise. So that was the greatest hit. And for me, and for viewers who are watching, you cannot have anything as crazy as that. You are barely even making then, I mean,
Money.
Surviving.
100,000,
Yeah.
then you get a bill of 9 million. And then it's not like now that I think they're even more, they have a bit of an ease. Then it was like, if you don't do it, they'll close shop. They'll shut you down. They'll actually put a tape. So I had to come to them and have an arrangement. I actually paid.
Whoa.
Oh, I had an arrangement. So as I was earning, I was paying. Yes. So we came up with a payment plan. Therefore, they shaved off a bit of it, and we came up with a payment plan. So every month as I make money, I have to pay back.
Mara, let me let you jump in.
You know, for many also, starting a business, not necessarily like the biggest thing, is sustaining it over 20 years like you have. And, you know, my question was going to be, how did you sustain it? But listening to your, what you just spoken about with LIRS and how you navigated that, I sort of have an idea of the sort of person you are. But could you tell us, what are the traits that you need to have so that you're able to sustain a business over a period of time?
I think the number one thing, apart from God Almighty, who I think is the beginning and the finisher of everything concerning life and business, another thing is visionary leadership. You must have a vision. It must be very clear. You must know where you're going to. You must know what you're doing, regardless of whatever is happening around you. And you must have that ability, that, in fact, tenacity and resilience is the greatest tool you can have as an entrepreneur. If you don't have that, there's so many things that will be thrown at you from the beginning, in between, at the end. And if you cannot be resilient to say, okay, fine, I will absorb it, I will find a solution, I'll move on, then you cannot actually, you know, sustain any business. So that's one of the critical things: resilience and passion, passion for what you do. Because even in those dark days when you feel you want to throw in the towel, of course I wanted to throw in the towels. I want a couple of times, but that passion and the love for what you do, the genuine love
question I have
for what you do.
Omon. This question for me is very close to my heart, because what is the role of personal branding in your business? The reason why I'm asking that, because I didn't know you from Adam, and there's something you did that taught me something I probably never told you. I didn't know you. She showed up at my 10th, at your view at 10, and I think it was my birthday, or no, a book launch.
Yes.
You showed up at my book launch, like the queen of Nigeria, like this, the queen of Zamunda. She walked right in, because you know there was the special tables, and she didn't look left, she didn't look, she went straight for your view table in front. I sat down. I'm thinking,
that was the day I saw her.
Who this woman? Who is she? Is she a lady of your view? I said, I don't know how. Because you were dressed like you owned the place, and you sat down, and then you gave me something tangible, and I'm like, who is this auntie? I have to go and Google her after, because so for me, you owned the room, even though you didn't know me. You said, I'm going to come in there, and I see how when you enter somewhere, you own the place. You know an Omon when she walks in. How has that helped your business?
Wow. I think what you have just described is actually me, and I cannot deny it. And even when I started and didn't even know so much, the thing I think I did was packaging, in quote. Okay. Packaging means you are bigger than what you are even selling. I had nothing to sell because I didn't have what we call the experience and the track record. So I used myself. First and foremost, I worked on even my outward appearance. I knew one thing: I had to look good, speak well, make sense before I was given an opportunity. And the first 2 years of my business defined my business to what it is today. The first 2 years, I told you I was earning 110,000. I made that same amount of money in millions for the first 2 years.
Wow.
Even when people said there were people who were doing that same business 10 years before I started and 15 years when I started, what did I do differently? I was courageous. For some reason, I didn't even know it. Now I can define it, but then I didn't know what it was. I was very, very courageous. But one thing that gave me courage was preparation. Preparation. I will read. And I don't know whether it's my law background. We do research very easily. We read, we research. So I would take a company and I would tear it into pieces, de-risk that business. When I'm coming, I'm providing a solution, not talking about selling my product. So I sell value. I don't sell a service. So I've always used that as a tool. And guess what? It always turns into money.
Wow.
And you know, there's one saying on Instagram, there's one lady who said, money loves me. If money is around me, it will choose me.
Yes,
so it will pick me as the person. That's how I feel. when it comes to money. So you don't chase money, you chase value, money will come. And so that has always been my principle, and I think it has worked.
Fantastic. I know that you're going to be at Talkway's event this weekend, Game of Money. You're one of the speakers. I'm looking forward to you. So when you go for these events, I mean, what have you seen as a crucial element in helping young people become more courageous and be more aware or alert of how to actually build themselves and become someone like you?
Okay, so one thing I've seen about the younger generation when it comes to the conferences is that they are not really applying themselves as much. And that's the truth. Because they come and a lot of very powerful speakers will speak and actually give them the blueprint, which we'd never had during our time. And they'll give them the blueprint, and a lot of them just go back to default setting. They hear and it goes out from the other side. So that's one of the common things I see about the youth. Then, of course, a lot of them have this issue of if I come from a poor background, I don't think I can excel beyond a particular level, or I don't think I can be rich. But I've always said it, I'm not from a poor background, I'm from a middle class background. Regardless of whatever it is, as long as it was this kind of, this body, this mindset that I had, whether I was poor or not, I'm sure I would have still done the same thing over and over again.
We have to wrap up. I can't leave this place without talking about Omon's couch.
Oh.
Tell us a bit about that. How has it been? How many seasons?
We have done 3 seasons. We're in the 4th season. We've done about 60 episodes.
Oh,
we mean 60 entrepreneurs and 60 career women. We've celebrated them through the show. And this was this came as God prompting me to do something more for women, because after a long time, you get people say, I want you to be a mentor, I want you to be my mentor, and I never really have time for it. So I felt, how would I get everyone together and train people or speak to people or empower people through a medium? And I said, okay, technology must be it. And that's how Omon's Couch started. And I did it very afraid. Even till today, I'm still doing it afraid. But the feedback that I get fuels me to do even more and more. And I love it with everything, every fiber of my being. I love it.
Thank you very much. We're proud of you. Well done. So, I mean, we do this every Wednesday. We bring in women like you just to celebrate and just to highlight and put a spotlight on what they're doing. So we wish you the best and looking forward to more successes from you. That's all we can take on the show today. Hope you learned quite a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.